uncut and unscripted and on the fly.
Well, now that the show has come to, sadly, an end, we do know that the fandom will continue. But, as predicted, the one thing that got a lot of people talking was what we saw at the end of The Last Problem. Or at least towards the end. And that was the apparent and interpreted shipping of certain characters. Now, as much as people may say that they were hoping this was going to happen, a lot of people were still kind of in shock that out of all of the main seven, that it was Pinkie Pie that ended up becoming a parent and obviously getting married to Cheese Sandwich. Some were predicting and hoping that would happen, but in honest opinion, from what I've read and heard, a lot of people were just surprised. They were just like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Like, they understood and expected Cheese Sandwich and Pinkie to get together if they were going to go that direction to help close out the show, help close out the series, but they never expected them to take it a step further, where it's pretty much confirmed that she's married and her and Cheese have a kid. But it wasn't just Pinkie and Cheese Sandwich that was confirmed. The other couple or ship that seemed to be interpreted as confirmed was Applejack and Rainbow Dash. And a lot of people were actually happy about this, because here you have two friends that were basically rivals as well, sort of a friendly rivalry to see who was the best athletic, tomboyish pony, whatever. And obviously, that friendly rivalry of a friendship between the two turned into something more in the eyes of a lot of folks. I mean, the dialogue that Rainbow Dash and Applejack exchange basically would imply it. And some people have even pointed out that when you look in the final scene, they're kind of looking at each other lovingly before they're looking back at the students and Lester Dawn walking off with the new generation of, I guess you could say, protectors of Equestria. However, they weren't the only ones. The other one that seemed to be interpreted as confirmed, maybe somewhat, was Fluttercord, Fluttershy, and Discord. Now, some might say that this is confirmed, because part of the original script called for Discord to lean in for a kiss from Fluttershy after she exited out of the portal to meet up for the Council of Friendship meeting that they do once a month or once a moon. Now, some people may not like that, but one clue that pretty much gave it away in the opinion of several fans is Fluttershy is wearing what looks like a blue bonnet or blue something that equals or signifies love. So why is she wearing that? Some might say it's because of her love for animals, her love for her friends. But she's wearing it when she's coming out of Discord's dimension, which apparently she now lives in. So one could assume maybe she and Discord are an item. Now, the one that really kind of is up in the air to a lot of fans, but a lot of fans can interpret it any way they want, is Rarity and Spike. Now, depending on how you feel about, Dragon Dropped, and how pretty much it was implied and interpreted that, okay, maybe there's going to be something more between them. Maybe the episode was played out as basically a love triangle, and Rarity was afraid of losing her boyfriend to another girl, stuff like that. When it comes to Rarity and Spike in the future, I do go off that one moment where she looks up at Twilight, and then she looks right at Spike right behind her, and she kind of blinks a little bit or bats her eyes just like once, but she continues to look at him longer than she did Twilight. And the fact that some people pointed out that she stands next to Spike and walks out from behind him or from the side of him to stand in between him and Twilight as we see the last scene. So some fans could interpret that maybe Spike and Rarity are together, that they are an item. But in the sense that since both have important roles to occupy right now, that they find that they're able, that basically they have a relationship to where even though they have to be in different places at times because of the roles they have, that they still will try to find time to be with each other. At least like once in a while, maybe even doing the once a month Council of Friendship meeting and update and just hanging out together deal, that maybe they get together by themselves and go off and watch a sunset, maybe have a dinner together, go out in the town, who knows. So, open to speculation and interpretation. One could assume, like I assume, that Spike and Rarity, I believe, are together, but it's the kind of relationship that when you look at something like, let's say, sports athletes and how they have to be away from their families sometimes during the duration of the season, except for maybe the All-Star break and the playoffs when certain teams don't get in. With the exception of those moments throughout the years, athletes are usually on the road most of the time and away from their families unless they're able to fly them out. Or they have a game, whether it's an away game or maybe even at home, but mostly an away game, where they'll be back in their hometown and their family can come see them. Point is, you can look at maybe Spike and Rarity having that kind of relationship. Again, as Jim Miller puts it, it's open to interpretation. Anything is open to interpretation. So the question is, what about some other relationships? Well, let's take a look at Starlight and Sunburst. It's not confirmed, but some people can suggest that maybe they are together, but we don't know that. We do know that Big Mac and Sugar Belle are together, obviously. They got married and they have a kid. And we do know that Lyra and Bonbon are together, officially. So the question is, so the question basically is, at the end of this, what do you think? How do you interpret what you saw? With the exception of a few that I've mentioned, like Pinky and Cheese and, Big Mac and Sugar Belle and Lyra and Bonbon, what do you think of the other ships? Do you believe Applejack and Rainbow Dash are an item now? Do you believe Fluttershy and Discord are an item, especially with people pointing out certain things in a certain scene in the original script that was cut out? And do you believe that perhaps Rarity and Spike are together, but it's the kind of relationship to where even though they have separate jobs or separate responsibilities and all that now, that once in a while, even if it's the once a month meetup, or even outside of that, do you believe they find time to get together? Because, like I said, there are relationships in reality that are like that. I mean, you want a good example, you want a truly good example, even though the time is ticking away before it becomes non-existable. Josh Scorcher, a.k.a. Firebrand, and Ari, the fiery secretary, a.k.a. Aramount. Yes, they are going to be married within, I think, a week, less than a week or so. And they're the perfect example in the brony / Pegasister community and fan base of a love separated by states that will eventually come together. Another good example is Bob Show and Raven. When it comes to the Bob Show reviews. The point is, Rarity and Spike probably have a relationship that's similar to that, to where they probably have to travel, have to stay in different places, but they'll always find time to get together, no matter what. And that's how I look at it. But what do you guys think? What do you think of the possibilities of Starlight and Sunburst? What do you think the possibilities are? Let me know down below. What are your thoughts when it comes to the interpretation of these possible ships? Let me know down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.